Alright, you guys, Monday. First thing this morning, we just got up. It's been a great morning. Made us a little coffee, we got our breakfast made, and got the house cleaned up. Liza got her Christmas tree up. What was that, a couple nights ago? Yesterday. Okay, so we're talking about what it's going to be like on your first job, your first test, things like that. Guys, I'm not going to beat around the bush on this thing. This is going to be one of the scariest things you are going to do in your welding career. Okay? Up to this point, you've probably invested, if you're going to go out as a single-hand welder, you've invested all the time it took to go to school or to go practice or whatever it is. If you're coming out as a rig welder, you've invested way more. I mean, you're 20 grand into this thing to even get out to the point of where you can go test. So you have taken your own money and you have put it into an asset, basically, of something that has the potential of millions of dollars. This is going to be scary. This is not something that that you just walk into and your first job just goes easy. It is very stressful. You've taken a lot of time and effort, and all the practice and everything that you've put into this all leads up to this first test. But you have to have a first test. There's always a first test. Nobody skipped it. What I'm trying to say right now is that this is going to be one of the scariest things you have done. You're gonna drive potentially hundreds of miles to go to this job. You're leaving a family behind you or whatever it is, and they are relying on you to make this test. You've probably quit your other job so that you could go test for this thing. You maybe got just a couple $1,000s in your pocket, which is way better than when I went out. I think I went out with $300 or $500 or something. Yeah. Paid for a camp spot. I actually had to negotiate with the lady to let me just live there until I took this test, It was scary. It was not a fun thing to do. But you are going to be freaked out when you go take this test. I don't know anybody that I've ever talked to. Some of the best welders I've talked to, they all told me that one of my good buddies, I helped him a long time ago. He told me, he says, Jake, the hardest thing you're going to do right now is go take a test. He says the next hardest thing you're going to do is keep your first job. Now, when you guys show up to this test, you're going to get there early in the morning, you're going to get strung out, and it's going to be in freaking tense because you're going to be there with potentially 10 other guys that have tested hundreds of times, probably. They know exactly what they're doing. They're showing up, they're cutting their coupons, and they're ready to go to work, They're going to be out of there way faster than you are going to be out of there. I think we had, on my first test, we had 2 6-inch coupons, 2 2-inch coupons, all on 65s, or all on 45, so an Arkansas bell hole is what they call it. It took me every bit of 7 to 5 o'clock, so 10 hour, no, because we worked clear through lunch and everything. So anyways, 7 to 5, which is 10 hours. Took me every bit of 10 hours to get through that test. I was the last person there. Everybody else was gone by 1 or 2. Okay? They were done. Very stressful when you're the last person and that inspector's just kind of looking at you like, come on, man, let's do this, let's go. And if you luck out and you get to finish it up at 5 and they haven't already run you out, the next part is freaking getting those things bent and broke and everything, all your little coupons. And you are just sitting there praying because you got $500 to get back home. Did you get it?
Yep.
Oh, a little
feather.
But you got $500 to get you home. And if you don't make this test, number 1, you got to pay the campground lady. Number 2, you got to pay for all the fuel to get back. How are you going to do it, So, guys, when you show up to this first job, to this first test, you're going to be testing with a lot of other guys. That's just part of it. Mm-hmm. The inspector's job is to find good welders for the company. So, I've heard of stories where inspection will come in and just run out everybody because they're trying to get their buddies in there. But that's beside the point. That is not how usually it's going to go. So show up to this job, show up to this test, be confident in what you're doing. Get there, get out, talk to the other welders, and get going. Get to work, because you are going to be the last one there. Hands down, you are going to be the last one there. The first test, the second test, third test, they are all, it's just like, it's a freaking marathon. You'll never work so hard in your life. But once you get past the test, you've never had such a feeling in your freaking life. You just went from being so scared, so nervous, all this money and time and effort has just led up to this test, and you made that test, You have never been so excited in your freaking life, because you just realized that you stepped in from whatever you were making before, 40,000 or less or whatever, to 100,000 or more. You just increased your income 3 times. And, yeah. But, if you bust the test, everybody busts the test, find another one. Okay? So what I'm saying right here is I've got a lot of friends that they all came out, they spent the money, they did all the practicing, and they got their freaking teeth kicked in. They might have made the test, but as soon as you get out on your first job, it's a whole nother deal. Okay, you made the test, you're on this huge high, and the next day you got to show up and actually prove that inspector was right about letting you get out onto that job. It's a whole nother deal, you guys. You'll never be so scared when you get that test done, and then you'll never be so scared in your life when you actually get to show up on this job, and there's 20 welders sitting there that are all seasoned, and they are jam up good welders, and they are going to work the guts out of you. That's just part of it. Guys, you cannot let a negative experience in a test or a job determine what's going to happen to you. Because everybody has a first one. Everybody has a second one. Everybody has a third one. But I have a lot of friends that go out here and they get, they get through the test. They come out on their first job. And they might catch 3 repairs and get run off.
The first day.
Yeah, their first day. That just happens. That just happens. It's just luck. Maybe they weren't ready to come out. Maybe they were, whatever. But they just caught 3 repairs. Well, now they've invested all this time and money, and they're not the only ones that invested the time and money. Their families did it for them, too. They went without a lot of things so that they could afford this welding truck. And as soon as they get their teeth kicked in on their first job, they're like, I'm done. And they show up to the house. They sell everything for penny on the dollar. Yep. And then they go back to this shop where they were working for $18 an hour.
Don't give up.
Yes, you cannot give up. Everybody has a first job. That is just how it is. You are not going to be the exception to this. It is scary. It is intense. You have put out a lot of money. You deserve to be there. But it does not mean you deserve to be on that job.
Exactly.
You got to pay your dues when you get out into this thing, because it is a group of people that are seasoned. They've been doing this for freaking years, and you expect to keep up with them. It's just not going to happen.
But you have to remember that every test, you have to take a test every job. So there's going to be the same anxiety, the same stress, the same everything to get to that next job. So you've gone, a week without work, well, you got to have a job. If you've gone a month without work, you're always going to have that same stress, that same anxiety when it comes to test day.
Test day is not a fun day, but mostly because it's your entry into that job. And if you do not have somewhere else to go after that test, then you are relying solely on that one test to make you money and to start paying your bills again and to keep up. Mm-hmm. So, you've got to learn to deal with stress. You've got to learn to deal with the anxiety. You've got to learn to deal with the fear of going out there and making this happen, because you've got a lot of people relying on you to do it. So get off the couch and go do it. If you bust out on your first job, you get run off of your 50th job, keep going. It's the only way to make this work. So, guys, I hope that I did not want to beat around the bush on this whole deal because it's going to be scary. It'll be the most intense thing you have ever done. When you've got to put that welding truck to work and you have got to show up to this job and make it happen. So anyways, you guys, everybody be blessed. We'll talk to y'all later. Like, subscribe, comment. If you guys have questions, email me, schofieldwelding@gmail.com. I do try to get back to all the emails.
There's a lot.
There's a lot of emails, you guys. And a lot of the same questions. And I just trying to just answer them. So if they're short and to the point, don't take it personal. It's just a lot to cover. So anyways, you guys, be blessed. We'll talk to you later. Good job, bub.
I just sat here.
I know, but you're eye candy.